So I'm glad a lot of people are actually speaking up and at least telling the other side of why they feel the way they feel as immigrants. Okay. So I'm going to read this immigrant's comment out, at least half of it. And I'm just going to post the rest. As a Haitian, a lot of Haitian citizens seen the true colors of their family and other Haitians' behavior through that Biden program. Imagine the people you used to send your hard working money to come to America and basically start calling you names like lazy, you drive an old model car, la 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 la, and they basically feel entitled. Basically, here's the rest of the comment right here. Um, so that's another reason why immigrants who can vote voted the way that they did is because I knew there was some underlying thing to this or some because there's a lot of name calling because the way a lot of immigrants come to the United States of America, business owners all the way down to just people who are unemployed. They call Americans lazy. They call everybody over here lazy. We don't want to work. There was just another businessman who hires CPS workers and called saying Americans just don't want to work. And I'm not quite sure how he thinks that comes off to the to Americans, but it comes off real nasty to Americans. And the fact that he's like he wants to keep those on TPS stuck is crazy to me. Like he's like Americans have options. In one area he says we're lazy, and then he says when Americans have options, that means we're not lazy. It's just that you call options lazy because we aren't stuck. And I got into that in another video. They want slaves basically, right? And then there's the name calling, like you said. So now the layers are starting to open up as to why many immigrants decided to vote against their own people because there is this nastiness they feel like they get from their own people. Now, you mentioned the Biden program. Okay. This is another thing that I think people misread. Okay. Because it's actually been Democrats that have had more deportations than Republicans by far. Republicans are just louder. There's a reason why Democrats aren't as loud. They're afraid to be loud about it because they feel like if they're loud about it, they're going to lose these people and these people. So they aren't loud about it. But the reality is they just do it in different methods, and the Democrat method is better and has worked more efficiently than the Republican method, which is louder. Okay, and this is why people believe that Republicans are deporting more, but in reality, Democrats have deported more over the course of time. Here's a chart, okay, that shows this, and I'm saying this as an independent. I just want to make that clear. And as an independent, I just want to look at the actual numbers, okay? Because this is how um, I operate my votes, okay? So I look at the numbers and I look at the actual facts, not who's louder, not who's quieter. I actually look at the numbers. And when you look right here at this fact, Democrats have successfully deported more people. The only thing that they don't agree with deporting people on TPS to war-torn countries or countries that are very dangerous. They will extend TPS, okay? But even with their extensions of TPS, they still have deported more people than Republicans. Okay, they're just different methods, and one is quieter, which I blame the Democrats for that because I mean, if you want people to know what you're doing, especially at this day and age, you're going to have to tell them. You're going to have to be loud about it. You're going to have to actually say it over and over again, which they don't. Another thing I think the Democratic Party does is they allow more funding to immigrants. They do allow more funding to immigrants, and that's annoying American citizens. And that's just facts. It's very annoying, especially because first of all, the funding is state funded. Okay, so whatever immigrants get is from the state funds. Okay, and so Democrats give more funding, whereas Republicans want to cut it off. And here's the question, and so I always have a question. Okay, so since you are telling the states, the Republican states are cutting off the funding, right? Where is the funding then going? Because the people, American citizens, aren't seeing it either. And so I went and looked up the answer. Their funding, that funding that they are keeping now instead of giving to the immigrants, it's going into law enforcement, it's going into deportations. Or they're saying it's going into deportations, but they're still deporting less people than Democrats. So somebody lying, right? Okay, so it's the swap of money. That's all I'm saying. It's the swap of money, and they're saying one thing and they're doing another. All of the money that is quote unquote being withheld from the immigrants could have actually lowered costs for the American people, from education, healthcare, childcare, all of it. But it's not where it's going. So that's why I feel like the Republicans are full of crap. I mean, we're talking about billions of dollars. And here's what I looked up. All of this could be done. Like all of it could be done. However, it's not being done. Community college could literally be free. Free. There could be increased funding for veterans. Yeah. Child care. which is through the roof. But so far, everyone's just so focused, to me, on immigration that they're not looking at the numbers. They're not looking at what's really going on. And what's really going on is no one is helping the American people in Congress. No one. No one is pushing that money back out right now. No one is pushing that money back out to help the American people in any way. All they're doing right now is pretending to deport more people. But in reality, taking more money and spending it on dumb crap, placing it in their own pockets. This is where we are right now. So I personally, I feel as an independent, I feel like we can't have the Congress that we have there anymore because they simply don't care about the American people. We have to put people in Congress that care about the American people. American people are generous, but American people get pissed when they're starting to feel like the outsiders in their own country. Meaning that we have to fight for our money because you got one party who is making it much easier for immigrants to get money and harder for us to get money. And then you have the other party who's snatching money away from immigrants. However, they're definitely not giving it to the American people. Okay, but the tax dollars, American people are funding this every single time we go to work. And that's pissing off the American public. And I can say that as an independent. I'm just looking at it as facts. And this is the reason why I won't vote Republican. As an independent, I won't vote Republican. Because they're turning this land to crap. Happily. While funding ICE. ICE is actually a lot of white supremacists and others who support it. So that's how they're going to end up getting funding. In my eyes, that's how they're getting funding for their organizations. A lot of them. So that's a trick. And then the Republicans wanted to pay the people with the money that destroyed the Capitol. And then as far as, and I'm just listing things that's coming to the top of my head. And then they talk about they don't want people on TPS, but reached out and got people who did not need any protection, the white South Africans, to come over here, and we funded people for no freaking reason. Okay. So, and this stuff is still going on where he's trying to erase Black history. He's actually trying to get his name on a ship where a Black American war hero who rescued people during Pearl Harbor attack, his name's supposed to be on the ship. He's trying to get that name removed and put his name on it. Okay. All these things let me know that I could never vote Republican because it means racist. And that's just a fundamental core belief I have. I could never, that's what it means today. Don't come in my comments talking about what it was yesterday and 200 years ago. We're not living 200 years ago. We're living today. I would never vote Republican. I'm not a one issue voter. I'm an entire thing and I look at the entire thing. Okay. As far as people who are upset with illegal immigration or immigration, Democrats already deport more people. So I'm not sure what, you know what I'm saying? They already deport more people than Republicans have, period. Okay. So that's not a gotcha moment. The only thing the Democrats need to fix is how they're allotting funds that are pissing Americans off in many Democratic states. I think that's the core because a lot of those urban I've heard, I don't live in one, okay? I'm just basing off what I've heard. They're tired of funding the citizens of that state are tired of funding immigrants when they're struggling. And the Democrats aren't hearing the American struggle in those states. I think they need to fix that. And this is just coming from an independent. They need to fix that because there's something wrong there. Okay? There's something wrong there. You need to take care of home. And then you can say, okay, well, this is what we can allot for these particular people. Okay? That's just how I feel. But yeah, there's no way I would vote Republican. because I don't care what the flip. I don't care what the flip they say or do. It race when your religion is racism. When you tell me that diversity is bad and equity is bad, and at my core, equity, and I'm a Black American, equity is something that, hey, no, that's not, no. We need equity. Okay, when you don't like that, that's a problem. And the religion of racism is, it brings a lot of evils with it that hurt the entire country. The entire country. It takes it. Racism takes away civil rights. Racism takes away a lot of things, which they already did. That's another reason. So, yeah, I would never vote Republican for something as simple as a fix with immigration or illegal immigration, because that's something that can be fixed without racist buttholes in office. That's something that can be fixed.